Happy New Year, everyone. I wish you all God's grace, blessings, and success in all your endeavors. Now that we have all the pleasantries out the way, I'd like to talk about a topic that has been troubling me since 2025. Oh, yeah, we're in 2026 now, huh? Time flies. Who would have thought? Anyways, the year that was 2025 was really a roller coaster year, and I believe nobody was spared. We all had our ups and downs, a moment of joys and a moment of despair. But we as South Africans are a resilient bunch. We find ways to motivate ourselves and keep ourselves going no matter what. The one topic and discussion that I kept seeing throughout the year was mostly related to wealth and success, and it got me thinking. Earlier last year, and I'm referring to last year as 2025, I was invited to speak at a youth community event on career options in tech. But the night before the event, I took a complete 360 and spoke on the topic Treat Yourself as a Business. That video should be out on my personal YouTube page. In that talk, I was trying to convey the different behaviors between those looking for a job and those that are treating themselves as a business. It was not a talk bashing employment. Besides, that's where I started my career anyway. I was just trying to showcase the different mindset and patterns of those who take the path of treating their career as a business. With that being said, I wanted to further expand on the topic of success or being successful. I must preface that the definition of success or what you constitute as being successful is intentionally left to you, the listener. I hope to not make this as a social media influential, orchestrate background music track content so that you can buy my product. I've got nothing to sell anyway. So none of that fluff. But here's my attempt to showcase the patterns that I've discovered from studying successful people over the 20 years of my career, my professional career, and the professional people that I'm trying to portray are people who have made it in the industry that are not really social media savvy like people of today. Well, when we started, we never had social media. Heck, even Google. I was a teenager when Google came up. So, enough of the waffle. And I hope that whatever content that I will spew out in the next few minutes will help you to craft your success journey. One of the hats that I wear in this IT career is a hat called software engineer. And as a software engineer, when business comes to me with ideas that I want to implement into a software, I first have to scope a business requirements to ensure that what business want is what will be translated into the system that we will build. So, firstly, we create a business requirements document, and in that document, there are two types of requirement that needs to be captured: the functional requirement and the non-functional requirement. In simple terms, the functional requirement defines what the system must do, such as user must log in, how they can update the user profile, how they can check the account information, etc., and so forth. Right? While the non-functional requirements defines how well the system must perform, such as how secure is the application. Everybody knows that application must be secure. Performance, how many users will be using your system during office hours, during after hours, you know. The user experience with all the users using your application, etc., and so forth. The end users never see the non-functional requirements, but this requirement enhances the user experience on the task the user perform on the system. As I mentioned earlier, the success of the system is the combination of both the functional requirements and the non-functional requirements working in tandem that the user can see and experience. Now, to bring it back to my topic, if you study any successful people, you'll realize that the same principle that we use in software engineering applies there too. Thus, success is also an engineering problem. And like every engineering problem, there must be a way to engineer a process that can be repeated and programmed for people to apply. After all, we humans are programmable machines anyway. I mean, programmable biological machines. That's the difference. If you think that my thought is crazy, hear me out. Let me break it down further. But before we break it down further, let's do a simple exercise. First, let's have a definition of success. Whatever you define success to be as, let that be your definition of success. Whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's mental, it doesn't matter. It can be a combination of all of it, it doesn't matter. Success in your world, that's your definition. Got it? Good. Now pick any successful person that you can think of based on your definition of success. I'll give you time. You got time? You got one? Good. Now hear me out. While I'll be breaking down my thoughts gently here, think if you can see any of these patterns applies to the person that you just selected. Okay, let's go. The functional requirements of any successful person, i.e., the actions that all successful persons constantly do, are the following. And I've only highlighted 2 points. Point number 1, they become reputable on the one specific thing that they do best. Number 2, they are always visible. There's a saying, it's not about who you know, but it's about who knows you. Let me break it down into digestible chunks. Every person is recognized by 2 things. 1, their name, and 2, their reputation. This is evident because the first 2 questions we often ask when a stranger is introduced to us by someone we trust are, what's your name and what do you do? In other words, not only do we want to know who the stranger really is, but what the stranger is really good at and who has vetted the stranger. Word of mouth. We always trust what our mother tells us, even though we don't really research what she tells us. That's how the world works. So it's not just important that people should know your name and your reputation, but who should know both. In other words, your name and reputation must reach the ears of only the relevant people who can see your worth and potential. But more on that later. So, how do we achieve this? It all starts with a skill or talent. Some are born with natural talent. Some have to learn the skills from scratch. Either way, in order to build your reputation, otherwise you have to know you are basically of no value to society, and you will easily be read as a fraud because nobody eats for free anyway. So, how do you nurture your talent? How do you build up skill? I believe that these are the 3 major non-functional requirements that they apply in order to nurture their talent. These 3 things are education, skill refinement, and collaboration and knowledge sharing. Let me break it down. 1. Education. We were taught since our youth that education is the key to success, meaning acquiring knowledge and skills through formal or informal learning empowers us as individuals with critical thinking, problem-solving abilities, and adaptability, opening doors to better opportunities, higher learning potential, personal growth, and the capacity to innovate and contribute positively to society. Point number two, skill refinement by gaining real world experience. It's exactly like sport. It is through training and playing live matches that you get to learn what works well and what needs improvement. Such real world experiences provide practical wisdom, builds resilience, refine skills, and improve decision making by turning knowledge into actionable insight, often learned through both triumphs and failures. While formal education offers a foundation, hands on experience teaches adaptation, problem solving, and the real world application of theories, making it crucial for growth and achievement. And finally, point number three, collaboration and knowledge sharing. When collaboration and knowledge sharing occurs amongst peers and experts, not only does it create a culture of learning, growth, and innovation, but it also fosters scouting of leadership potential. Can your peers trust you? Trust your work? Trust your judgment? Can you trust your peers' work? Can you trust their judgment? Can you lead a team? These requirements are the stuff other people don't see. The blood, sweat, and tears that you invest every day into your craft in order to better yourself and be an undoubtable force. I won't lie to anyone. It's a constant grind. It's always an everyday learning, and it keeps you in your toes. There will always be your ups and downs. So enjoy every process and count your blessings. When I started in my career path, I thought that skills plus hard work equals success. That's what I've been taught, and as a perfectionist, I thought that if I followed the success formula and produced consistent results every day by day, the work would speak for itself. Someone was bound to see it, and it would open doors for better opportunities. You work hard forever hoping that one day an opportunity comes knocking at the door. What I was never told is that education gets you through the door, skills get you seen once, and hard work keeps you in a position where you clean up other people's messes, often in perpetuity. You'll be seen as that person who extinguishes the fire when other messes up. And I'm speaking from over a decade of experience. And that's my fault. I focused entirely on being super efficient and perfect my craft so that I could be productive, not only for my team, but also to the stakeholders. What I failed to understand is that stuff that are outside of your control matters more than you ever think. Stuff like communication skills, managing work politics. Believe me, there's more politicians in a workplace than there is at parliament. And being an extrovert is what people do care the most than the one sitting on a chair slaving away for 9 hours every day on his laptop. What was missing was applying the next pattern I listed on my functional requirement. Oftentimes, when one has a problem, we often ask for recommendation from someone who is specialized to solve and resolve our problem. And that's the position you want to be in, when it's a no brainer for your name to be mentioned in the same vein as breathing. So, visibility is a requirement that allows people to know what you do, your expertise, your past work experiences, and the name attached to the skill. Basically, every art has an associated artist. So the art on display speaks more volume without the artist being present in the room, even when the artist is gone and buried. As the Bible says, by their fruit ye shall know them. So your works and reputation should be more visible and should represent your name and brand. So how do I work on my visibility? Remember the person you thought of in the beginning of this exercise. What do you know this person? What is this person known for? And why did you select that person for this exercise? While you're answering these questions, you'll realize that you not only know them by name and their work, but there's a deeper connection between you and the person that you have selected, even though the person might not necessarily know you. And there's a reason for this. That person has history. Basically, both of you have history, whether literally or otherwise. You know their story, their history, their reputation, and their likability or charisma. Building your visibility and positioning requires you to, as Jada always says, be outside. In other words, socialize with a purpose, a goal. That's it. Thus, the simplest requirement to build your brand visibility is to simply be part of a community or a club, whether it's external communities such as a sports club or internal within your organization. Being part of a community or a club offers numerous benefits that contributes to both personal and professional success. These advantages range from expanding your knowledge and skills to building a supportive network and enhancing your well-being. A community doesn't have to be a well-recognized community. It can also be a team-based or family-based community or a club where it's simply not a one-person only member group. The key benefits of being part of a community or a club includes 1. Increase visibility and credibility. 2. Leadership opportunities. 3. Develop influence, and that's one of the key critical factors. And 4. The likability factor. Let's break it down. 1. Increase visibility and credibility. Active participation helps build your personal brand. As you contribute meaningfully to discussions, projects, and the community or group vision, you become recognized as an expert or a reliable member, which enhances your professional reputation and credibility. 2. Leadership opportunities. Frequent active participation often involves taking in organizational, leadership, and/or board member roles. These roles provide practical experience in leadership, communication, and managerial skills, essential for opportunities in providing decisive and insightful decisions for the betterment of the group and the organization at large. Number 3, not becoming an influencer but developing influence. This is a crucial trait that one must possess, which I didn't know back in the day. Having influence plays a role in shaping our behaviors, attitude, perspective, and decisions. This can benefit you by helping you to develop strong relationships built on trust. Increasing your influence helps you raise your profile, making you more valuable and being considered for promotions or opening doors to unforeseen opportunities. Ideally, you want to build an influence where others can buy in and genuinely commit to your idea or goal. Even better, when your influence results in monetization. Number 3, the likability factor. Even though this factor is not a requirement, likability fosters collaborations in order to strengthen relationships and build trust. Likability is a measure of how relatable a person is perceived to be. Is the person warm and approachable? Can you recognize, acknowledge, and understand other people's feelings from their perspective? Can you separate people's emotions from work deliverables? Can you take people under your confidence? This might include diffusing conflicts should conflicts arise. Don't forget, the aim of the likability factor is that you become a warm and an approachable person that others can have confidence in working with you. People trust those that they like. You can listen to the previous episode where I've spoken about this very topic. A strong community often comes with a good support system. It allows you to learn about yourself, your goals, work with your strengths, and how to improve on your weakness. Mentors can provide guidance, encouragement, and constructive feedback, helping you navigate challenges and make informed decisions on your path to success. In all of this, document your process and your journey. This is called building a portfolio. By building a portfolio, you transform abstract claims of expertise into tangible evidence, serving as a powerful personal marketing and self management tool. Your portfolio becomes your professional story, where your unique value propositions are in full display, backed up by a strong evidence of skills, experiences, accomplishments, case studies, in order to humanize you and build trust. Even with all of this process put in place, none of this will be of beneficial to you if you do not build meaningful relationships. Relationships that is mutually beneficial to both parties. Why? Because no one has ever become successful on their own. There must be someone who must vet and vouch for you, market you, and mention your name at tables that you cannot have access to. So, without a name, reputation, expertise, visibility, and portfolio, and people that can vouch and market you while you are asleep, who has got your back or can back you when an opportunity lands at your doorstep? Yes, such people don't look for opportunities. Opportunities comes to them or are recommended to them. Also, those that are visible always share their story. So it's best that you start narrating your story. Nobody knows you better than yourself. By sharing your own story, not only helps you build trust and build relationship with key players or customers, but it also provides inspiration and lessons that others can learn from. Always remember knowledge sharing. Those who don't narrate and share their stories and journey will have to pay dearly when others narrate their story on their behalf. Again, nobody else knows you better than yourself, and others are keen to monetize your name and image for their own pocket. So, own and protect your name, your story, and your reputation. Even copyright it. One thing that I've noticed over the years, with the popularity of social media, many have opened a media business with the sole purpose of producing content around their brand, their image, and their product. Some have YouTube channels which they have monetized. It's another income generating stream. You can tell because they will ask you to subscribe because it's free. Remember, if it's free, you are the product. And some of the videos are sponsored. Some have a podcast as well. Well, my podcast is not sponsored and I'm doing it out of my own pocket. And I've never advertised anything anywhere. It's still new. It's just a knowledge sharing platform. So don't crucify me yet. Maybe in 10 years' time. But we'll see. Such media enterprises not only make them visible, but it's also a means to make income in the process. The most important thing about making such move is that they control the narrative. They control what story to share to the audience, and with the analytics that the platform provide, they can adjust the content to keep the image relevant. And we're living in a tech world where owning your own media empire is easier now than ever before. Because back then, only the selected few were privileged enough to appear in popular TV episodes or magazines, even radios. It's up to you to then keep relevant at your own leisure. But don't be too comfortable now. Someone is out there already to steal your lunch. I'll just summarize it as follows. Success is a team sport, so you have to engineer your success as a sport. Essentially, first, you have to have an end goal in mind in order to determine your success. Some well-known prolific sport players will tell you that they've turned to sport so that they can escape the tough life and environment that they grew up in. So there is no other option but to become the best player in the world or in their club, to be an irreplaceable player or a GOAT. That's their end goal, their success. Without an end goal, you won't have a vision, motivation, direction, and focus to achieve your end goal. Next, in order to be a good athlete at all sporting code, you must train. And training never stops, probably when you retire. Training is not just to be perfect in your craft, but ultimately to be picked someday to play in a national team or in a famous sports club. Let's take an example of a sporting code: football. The most popular sports club in your country or internationally have talent agents or scouting agents whose sole purpose is to scout for extremely talented players in various schools or sporting clubs. So, so by joining these talented schools or sports clubs and playing professional tournaments, you not only understand the sports and gain experience, you also ensure that your skills and talent are seen by talent scouts. You'll realize that those who stand out are those that train when others go partying after a game or go to sleep early. They get mentors, training and advice from mentors. They get coaches, specialized coaches, and they study past matches to understand what worked and what went wrong, how they can fix it, and they take initiative to fix their mistakes. As they become professional, they become braggadocious to test their influence. The more influential they become, the quicker and sooner they get to monetize themselves and build a brand that is beneficial to them and the organization they play for. But ultimately, they have the end goal in mind and they never forget that. And they work consistently every day on their fitness, their skills, their game, their gameplay, their brand, and their influence to ensure that they are relevant every day, all day, and they reach their end goal sooner than later. Basically, they investing in themselves. You also realize as players grow in the sport, they become an elite player. They are scouted by bigger and well-established and experienced clubs. That's where the elite of elite players are assembled. In other words, if you want growth, you have to be surrounded by those who can help you grow, those who have the experience, those who have walked that path and have the experience to guide you to get there. As they say, you are the product of your environment. Don't be fooled. It's also a matter of business. You're in a position where you can make money for yourself and also make money for the club. Ultimately, you'll have to be a team player and trust your team and take charge in your position in order to make your team win. When your team win, you win. When your team lose, you lose. Ultimately, you all contribute to become winners. This might mean you might provide insights in order to better the team and work together with experts such as your coach, but ultimately, when you work together for the common goal and vision for the club, you'll realize it's easier to build your own system to achieve your own goal. Oh, one last thing. Don't be afraid of being let go for any reason. The one thing that nobody can replace is your experience, your talent, and your skills. Just keep active and be visible. As they say, if you haven't floated, eventually it will come. In closing, note that success is not an overnight job and the responsibility is 100% fully yours, even the failures that comes with it. You'll definitely go through many failures along the way. It's always been hard work and long-term continuous investment into yourself. So don't be fooled by influencers who promise you quick success and wealth by some scheme. Treat failures as a teachable moment and continue to move forward. There's no need to cry over something that has already passed. What's done is done, and you only got the presence to make an impact that will be seen in the future. Finally, what if there are no opportunities available? In that case, create one and share your creation with the world and see who bites and wants to help you grow. That's what innovation is about: collaboration and knowledge sharing. And then you can have the title as an innovator, and that can also be your superpower. That's all for now. Now, with all that I've mentioned, remember the person that you selected at the beginning of this podcast. Does that person tick all the patterns that I've highlighted? Do you have any other functional or non functional patterns that I've missed that you believe is beneficial to building a success formula? If so, let me know and let's discuss. Thank you for listening. These are my insights and experiences that I thought I could share, and I hope it will benefit someone who's listening to it. My name is Bohake Cindy. If you've listened up to this far, please feel free to reach out on my socials and come say hi. It will be awesome to communicate with you all, and let's be friends. Thank you for listening and for lending me your ears. Until the next episode, be kind to others always, for we never know what everybody else is going through. Thank you and God bless.